Master of Arms.
Alright, guys.
Ravenour.
Make sure I'm getting some volume here. Yeah, I am. I'm getting a little volume. Alright. So today we have a ScrimCast of my new favorite team, Prey. Gold caliber team against Playmaker's new team. Another potential gold caliber team. It's just a scrim between these two guys. It looks like they went through the captain's pick. For some reason they remade the game. And they are repicking their heroes, unless they actually just straight up picked. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, our lineups look like we have, for Prey on the Hellborn side, we have Bubbles, Ravenour, Glacius, Gemini, and Master of Arms. And currently on Playmaker's side, we have, on the Legion side, Warbeast. We don't know. Maybe a random coming up. Tree, Engineer, and Puppet Master. So the one thing I really like about these gold games, guys, is, you know, they talk about the meta in Diamond. And the meta in Diamond really dictates what we typically see no matter what division that we're in. But in Gold in particular, you see them throw heroes out that you typically don't see in the Diamond division. There's only a few teams in Diamond right now that experiment with other heroes. Lions will throw you the curveball one every once in a while. But what's really interesting to me is this Puppet Master pickup on Playmaker's side, and I'm kind of curious how they're gonna play this. If we want to talk about the lineups and in regards to lanes, I'm not entirely sure how they're gonna lane this. I imagine we'll see the Pesti mid, maybe Pesti Engineer mid on the Legion side. I'm thinking we're gonna see Ravenour Glacius mid on the Hellborn side. And other than that, I really don't know how they're going to do it. They have Bubbles as a suicide potential. And Gemini, Master of Arms. Master of Arms supporting anybody is always a good lane. But we're starting to see, looks like both teams are going to run right into the Legion jungle here. Glacius has the wards. I don't know if they're going to try to block the pull here or what. But Tree's scouting with the tree dogs. I don't know if he saw them. They are backing as if they know that they're down here. And let's see, this tree dog is going to come up behind this Glacius and potentially, yeah, they're going to catch vision of him. So they still have yet to put the ward down. I don't know exactly what Glacius is going to do with this ward. Or how these lineups are going to pan out. But so I was correct about the middle lane, at least for the Legion side. We are going to see Engineer Pestilence, which everybody talks about the potential for lanes that have a stun followed with this Engineer. Like Magmus Engineer is always a good combo together, and you see that a lot in Diamond tier games. But Pestilence Engineer, I could see the exact same potential. Okay, so Glacius wards the woods here. I don't imagine. I mean, I imagine that might be because they think, yeah, okay, so this tree is going to jungle. This tree is going to go jungle, and this is just for them to catch vision, maybe rotate on. They're going to do a tri-lane bottom here, and they're going to send this Bubbles mid, which is pretty interesting. The Ravenour, they're going to have solo top versus the Warbeast. And Warbeast did pull the lane, but Ravenour did exactly what you're supposed to do, pull the lane back away from the tower, and the lane will probably return right back to where it normally was. They're going to send this, I don't even want to call this Puppet Master in a suicide position, because I don't know if he realizes that they have this tri-lane set up here bottom. I think he thinks at this point in the game that this Gemini's down here by himself, but he is playing back cautiously, so he might have some inclination that this is actually going on. And looks like we're going to have a jump attempt here on this Puppet Master. It's going to be really close. It's going to be really close. Let's see if we can get some jukes around here. This Puppet Master's probably going to fall unless he can juke out. Oh, he might get a kill on the Glacius first, and he does!
And country.
Let's see if he can get out of here. He is cutting through the trees here. He lost sight, and Master of Arms is going to pick up the kill. So, ultimately, the Puppet Master won out in that engage. He got the Bloodlust kill, plus the gold and the experience. The gold was a wash, though, because he did die, unless he did buyout. I'm not entirely sure if he bought an item before he died. But I don't know if they're going to just keep this setup down bottom. Imagine they're going to rotate now. The Master of Arms is going to do a little pick damage here. Steal a creep from the Keeper. but he's not going to be able to do anything other than just maybe harass him a little bit. This middle lane with the bubbles against the pestilence and the babysitting engineer, the only thing that's going to benefit from this is Bubbles isn't going to have an opportunity really to catch a lot of runes unless Glacius and Master of Arms steal for him. But let's check some statistics here. It looks like this engineer and this Bubbles are really going at it. This engineer's really making use of this. Oh my goodness, he's gonna might get a kill here. Oh, engineer actually gets the kill. He makes great use of the haste rune. Full duration of the haste rune too. Just ran out and actually got that last auto attack off. So along the bottom here, we do have another jump potential now. The Gemini's not going to follow it up. But this Ravenour does seem like he's having a pretty good time top against this this Warbeast. The Warbeast is doing better in creep farm. Right now it's 12-2 compared to the 8-4. But once Ravenour gets his portal key, and actually Engineer might get another kill here. Oh my god, this Engineer is doing some work. Talk about a lot of roam from a hero that you typically don't see roam that much. He'll typically babysit a stunner in the mid lane and just maybe squat runes for him. But what looks like they're just trying to maintain this farm on this pestilence to get him his early on portal key. And I guess one of the easiest ways to do that is have the Engineer roam around and take the focus off of if he's there mid lane or not. The Bubbles really has no idea. But we're going to see, let's say, okay, so the tree already he's finished his Ring of the Teacher, which is going to allow his push potential to be pretty good whenever they do decide to push. I imagine he's going to go early Resto Stone if he can. And I don't know exactly if this is the best way to execute this tri-lane down bottom, because Bubbles is already, or not Bubbles, but Puppet Master is already level 5. He has currently 900 gold saved up, so you're probably going to see either an early Grave Locket, or he might go right into his treads if he gets enough gold here. But Glacius is probably just going to steal this rune. Yep, Glacius steals the rune. Bubbles going to do a little chip damage here on this Engineer. He's not going to follow anything up because he knows this Master of Arms is nearby because of this ward here. But right now, at this point, it just seems like it's going to be somewhat of a farm game. I don't think we're going to see much more roam come out. Everybody's playing really cautious after those 2 early kills by the Engineer. I'm trying to see exactly what is going to happen here in regards to items. I'd like to see some action pick up. The one thing about gold tier games compared to diamond, though, is we typically do see a lot more action. Diamond tier games, especially when there's a lot on the line, the teams tend to play extremely cautious, and it's always that first team that makes the mistake or the first team that makes the move is typically who you're going to see dominate the next 5-10 minutes of the game. And gold teams, I don't want to say they're more reckless, but I think they're more open to take chances, especially here in these scrims. I don't know exactly what Puppet Master was trying to do right there. Maybe just do a little bit of harass damage to the Glacius. But if they would have followed that, I would have double stunned. I think Puppet Master would have been in a really bad position. So Puppet Master does end up picking up the boots first, which is always good, especially when you're playing against a trial lane like that. You need any kind of escape mechanism that you possibly can, and we know that Puppet Master really doesn't have that other than his CC abilities. This Glacius is in a really piss poor spot. And if this tree actually had any kind of mana, you may have been able to do something there. He is going to sit on the bottom rune and probably pick it up because they don't have sight of anybody coming down. But it looks like Bubbles did pick up the restoration rune or whatever you want to call it. Top. And he may roam. They're going to see him coming. I mean, they have this warded, this entrance to this jungle warded, the best you could possibly have. So they know he's here. And the Puppet Master cautiously is backing the whole way. From a farm perspective, he's doing relatively well. And if you look at it, he's 16-10 compared to the Gemini, which is 28-6. But you would expect that in a tri-lane because he said basically had free farm completely uncontested. If you look at this mid lane here, imagine if tree rotates up. We may see a push on the mid lane. They don't know that the Glacius and... Oh, they do now. They do now. The Tree Dog does spot the Glacius. And Glacius, if they do decide to rotate down, might be in a bad spot. Which they're not going to currently do. Actually, I had this discussion with a clanmate the other day about Engineer's Goo. They're not Engineer's Goo, but Master of Arms Goo. It's probably the best counter-pushing skill in the game right now. If you think about it, just one, it's physical, which a lot of people don't realize. But the Goo is 100% physical. It also does armor reduction, which is really interesting. See, he doesn't actually have this. If he had it up, I would show you guys the tooltip. But it's a physical skill, which is really, really interesting because most castable abilities like that have, cast out spell potential aren't physical. The only thing that I can think of, the only other two like really big physical skills like that are, say, like a tree ultimate or a rally ultimate, but both of those you basically have to be on top of somebody. With the Goo though, the range on it is absurd. It does minus armor reduction and it's physical. So, like, see, switch back really, really quick, but it just absolutely melts creeps. Any kind of pushing potential that this lane had, regardless if it's Wild Souls dogs, trees dogs, the creep potential that they have behind that, it's just, they disappear before they can even get to the tower. They've had 3 heroes here centralizing around the mid section, and they don't even have the tower to half life. And the only person that's really benefiting that is the Bubbles. He's just sitting here soaking up this experience. The Puppet Master he's still doing relatively well. And the only lane that we really haven't checked on here in a while is this top lane, which I'm expecting this Ravenour at any point to jump this Wild Soul. I mean, the Wild Soul was 6, so he's going to be able to get away. So maybe that's why he's not wasting his time. But the Ravenour already has his boots. It's probably working straight toward that portal key. I don't see why he would pick up anything else, because in this lane he's really not having any trouble at all. He's 42-12 compared to the 27-4 Warbeast, and I don't know. I just don't think, unless they do push this tower down early, which they may rotate top and attempt to push the tower down, Warbeast is going to be able to recover anytime soon. This Ravenour is really dominating this lane. I don't know if this Gemini, they might try to do something here mid. They have 4 heroes mid, and the Puppet Master is solo bottom, but I don't know if this, no, they're definitely going to jump here in mid. They're going on this Pestilence, Master of Arms, Fork Lightning, Stun, Glacial Blast. The tree comes in to see if he can actually clean up. And they're trying to turn it on this Bubbles, but I don't actually see them doing anything. Gemini and Bubbles are going to get away, and they do get the kill to even it up. So they killed the Pestilence, which was good, because anytime you can delay Pestilence getting his portal key, you've done a damn good job. And they didn't lose anybody in the process. And I'm trying to think, I think the only ultimate they burned was the Bubbles ultimate. Yeah, that was the only ultimate that they burned. So, and the Bubbles ultimate has such a short cooldown, you do want to use it at every opportunity that you can get. Tree did ultimately use his, oh, here we're jumping on the Engineer. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Engineer's going to fall, see if Bubbles can get out. I doubt he's going to be able to get out of this. He doesn't have the mana to shell serve. He is sighted, and he does fall. Pestilence does return the kill, and they got a kill on, who else fell here? The Glacius. Oh, okay, the Glacius did fall. The Glacius fell. So the Warbeast killed the Glacius. That's not a bad way to gain traction, especially when you're losing so badly in farm compared to the Ravenour. Right now, the Legion team, because of those early on kills, and oh my, I missed another kill. So the Gemini and the Glacius ended up jumping the Puppet Master. And the Puppet Master, you know what? In a situation like that, especially when you're playing against a tri-lane, regardless of the position that you're in, where you see a bunch of people middle like that, a TP is really, a 4-second time to bring you to death. That's all it is. So if you decide to push up a lane like that, especially after early on kills, you have to realize something, that the cooldown death timer is really short at these lower levels. So him being pushed up on the tower like that was just a really bad decision on his part, and allowed them to kind of regain traction on a hero that has been had an experience basically since the beginning of the game. But they are closing in here again, this Glacius at least. They know the Glacius is here because they did walk past this Ward of Sight, so they know he's here. And the Ward of Sight did fade, so they're not going to see him walk back, but they probably are going to play cautiously near the tower here. The Ravenour is really pushed up, and which is allowing them to do a lot of damage on the tower. The tower is going to fall, and they can't deny it. So, oh, and Ravenour did pick up his portal key. So Ravenour Ravenour's doing really well. Okay, so I want to check out farm here. Basically, right now we're sitting at 350 GPM for the Ravenour. The only person close on the Legion side, and they're going to jump the Pestilence, was the Pestilence, but the Pestilence did just fall. So the Pestilence he went from 300 GPM right down to 280 just like that based on that death. And I mean, we have 2 players currently right now between the Gemini and the Ravenour that are over 350 GPM. Well, no, okay, so the Ravenour is just below 350 GPM. The Gemini is above 350 GPM. And the thing about Gemini is he's one of the hardest late game heroes in the game. People always talk about like Dark Lady and Sand Wraith and stuff like that. But because of how Gemini's skills work in regards to the armor penetration, the movement speed, and the DPS with all the agility gain, it makes him one of the hardest carries in the late game. And it's just because he scales so incredibly well, especially if you have somebody who can macro really well, where you can play both of the dogs in the same lane. So, this Pestilence, I really don't see him living. I don't see him living at all. And there we go. Okay, so Engineer does drop his ulti. The Gemini is inside of it. The tree is going to all fall up with another ultimate, and they might be able to kill this Gemini here. Nope. Okay, so the Puppet Master does get his Puppet Show off, and did they end up picking? The Gemini does fall. They're trying to turn this on this tree, and okay, so the Bubbles does end up ultimately getting the pick. Warbeast is running. He's going to try to get a pick on this Master of Arms, but Master of Arms with the stun and the Bubbles ultimate does look like he's going to get away. They may be able to turn this around. Puppet Master is still in the mix of this, doing a lot of chip damage onto the Bubbles, but ultimately nobody falls from that point on. The pick on the Gemini was huge, absolutely huge. The combination with the Engineer ultimate, really, see, people don't understand how much damage, if you stand inside the Engineer ultimate and you don't actually destroy it, you know, sometimes people are so afraid to just run back out through the Engineer ultimate. In a situation like that, if Gemini would have just ran back out and ran toward the Hellborn side of the river, one, he wouldn't have been in range of the tree nuke. Yeah, I understand it would have taken the slow and the silence leaving. But by the time he ran through the wall, he would have had enough mana to stun away. So, by him staying inside the Engineer ultimate and trying to kill it, that ultimately killed him. Because once he destroyed the Engineer ultimate, he was below half-life on each one of his dogs, which meant when he recombined, he's only going to be at half-life. And Tree followed it up with the ulti. All they needed was a couple ranged auto attacks from any one of those heroes, and they were going to fall. And that's basically what happened. No matter what he did, because he decided to stay in the ulti, that's why he fell. Regardless of that, Gemini is still sitting 370 GPM, which is far above anybody else on the Legion team. He has a 50 GPM advantage right now on Puppet Master, and they are tied for experience. So we're looking at, yeah, basically we're looking at like a 20 differential in experience per minute. But Gemini is going to outcarry Puppet Master. Once Gemini gets his shrunken head, which you know he's going to get his shrunken head, just based on the amount of CC that's available on this Hellborn, I mean, out on this Legion side between the Pestilence stun, the Tree ulti, the Engineer ulti, and the Puppet Show and Puppeteer's hold. I think that's what's called. Yeah, Puppeteer's hold on the Puppet Master. He has to, and I imagine you're going to see the same pickup on, say, like a Ravenour. Ravenour will probably pick up the same item. But it looks like they are going to try to do a little damage here in the center. Ravenour does land his Ball Lightning on the Tree, ports in. Pestilence does land a stun. And they turn it on Tree. Tree immediately melts. Wow, this is really, really bad for the Legion side. Gemini's basically standing in the energy field and gets picked off by the Warbeast trying to retreat. So...
denied.
Okay, so they do get a deny on the tower. I don't know, they're not going to chase here. But it was pretty much a wash. I mean, they did lose the Tree and the Pestilence, which Pestilence is really having a hard time here. He was sitting around 300 GPM early on, which he would have had his portal key about 3 minutes ago. Because of those deaths, they just keep picking him off and jumping on him over and over and over again. He's sitting around 240 GPM now, so that's a pretty extreme fall to where he was at. He should have his portal key. If he maintains the amount of gold that he has right now, he should have his portal key, I'd say in the next 5 minutes or 4 minutes. He should have his next portal key by the 20-minute mark, which is still not bad. This Ravenour's doing work. I mean, this Ravenour, he's sitting at 330 GPM, but the thing about Ravenour is all he's good for is getting you through that mid game, getting you to the point where, oh, this is an opportune time. Okay, here we go, and the Pestilence is going to fall again. So between the stun of Gemini, which has such a far range on it's a skill shot because you have to be at the perfect range to hit it, and the fact that Ravenour has his portal key, it allows them to land that ball lightning so quickly. So not only does it stun when you get hit by the ball lightning, it just delays you for a second. But say Gemini lands his stun. Ravenour just has to blink in, land his ball lightning on you from point blank, so that's a stun. Then when he ports to you again, that's another stun, and by that time you have another hero on top of you like Glacius, who now has a 2-second hold, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, no, he only put 1 point in it. So, what are we looking at? It's still 1.5 seconds. You're looking at like 7 seconds of CC from 3 skills that are on a super, super short cooldown. And the thing about it with the Gemini stun, and when we talk about that range, it's almost like a portal key because he doesn't have to be, in front of you. He doesn't have to be in a lane. He could go straight up over a cliff with it if he wanted to. And we do have a pause. And you know what? As a replay class, you would think that I would have auto skip pause on, but I don't for some crazy reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Let's drop this down. 2 time. 4 time. One time. Alright, here we go. We're back to it. Well, at least you guys can listen to a little Buster Rhymes. I'm not entirely sure if you can actually hear that in the background, but anytime you have an opportunity to listen to a little Buster Rhymes while you're watching a cast, I think is a good thing. So, one of the people that used to play Puppet Master all the time, and this was back when the meta was completely different, was Angry Pesti. And I know there's a lot of people out there that still watch Pesti stream, and they understand exactly, the potential of the hero. But basically, what you're looking for is attack speed. Everybody talks about, oh, you want to make heroes tanky and how the meta is with the current late game carries like Warbeast and Gemini. They have a lot of HP, but there's one way and only one way to build Puppet Master, and that is complete glass cannon. You're looking for a shroud, you're looking for maybe a Whispering Helm, but other than that, he is a complete glass cannon, and it's all based on his Whiplash ability, right? So you want to let that counter tick all the way down. You want to pick up that shroud or that Jinjuro. You want to pop it and come out, and you're going to crit for God knows how much. So I'm really curious how he's going to end up building this here. I imagine he'll get a Shrunken Head just based on, we talked about the CC ability on the Legion side, but the Hellborn team, with the jump potential that they have, you got to have something like that, because regardless if you have the Shroud or not, oh my goodness. And he might actually get a kill here if he can get a kill. Oh, he does! Wow. So basically by
Legion had destroyed a
Puppet showing the one dog, it wouldn't allow him to recombine. So the only option the Gemini had was to attack the Puppet Master. But with the amount of damage that he did to the puppet that he casted out, there was nothing Gemini could do. He died way before the puppet show wore off on the dog. That was a really good play by Puppet Master. So, what was really close for a while, the Hellborn team did close up that deficit really quickly, especially with a lot of those jumps that they had on. It looks like Legion has taken the golden experience lead again, and it's by a pretty significant amount. You're looking at 2,000 experience, 3,000 in gold. They do have the... no, wait. They do have the tower advantage by 2 towers. So, I mean, that right there is your 2,000 gold difference. The only thing I'm still sticking with this Gemini, man. I mean, Gemini is going to outcarry this Puppet Master later on in the game. It's just, that's what's going to happen. And there's really nothing that the Puppet Master or the team can do about it. Once he gets that Shrunken Head, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially with all the armor penetration. Bubbles did pop a dust there to see if maybe they were walking up on the Puppet Master or the tree. They don't actually have sight of the Puppet Master currently on the map. Oh, no, this they do. So he is top. He is pushing the top tower. He knows he's there. They're actually going to push this middle tower, and I think Bubbles is probably wishing he had that dust right now. So they did jump in. They did pick off the Engineer really quickly. They're going to try to turn this. So Puppet Master dust poured in. They're going on the Gemini. The Gemini is puppet showed, so he's going to be chasing this Pestilence. It does wear off. Bubbles lands a pretty good ultimate to hold him in place. This Gemini is in a really, really, really bad spot. So Gemini does fall. The Warbeast just absolutely rips right through him, and so does the Ravenour. Man, did this Warbeast do some serious damage. You know, with the minus armor that Pestilence puts on, and then you have the, what's it called? The Battle Cry. The Battle Cry, the minus armor, and just the sheer fact that Warbeast hits like a truck when he's in an ultimate form. They do have a lot of physical damage. A lot of physical damage on the Legion side, regardless of you know, how big this Gemini does get. So Gemini, I'm going to go over the items again real quick. So we're at the 22-minute mark, and we did see the Puppet Master pick up the Shrunken Head like I thought he was going to.
A Legion tower.
Creeps do kill the bottom tower, which is really unfortunate for the Legion side, because somebody probably could have boarded and denied that. But this Glacius is going to fall immediately. That was a really bad play by Glacius. You have to think. They have no wards in the Hellborn jungle at all. No sight. We have a hero that has his portal key in Pestilence. We have a Shroud on Puppet Master. And we have Tree with a portal key and a built-in Invis. And Glacius is pushed in all the way up here. I don't know. Maybe he thought he was safe. Maybe he thought he was back far enough that after that team engagement, everybody went back to the well to maybe heal up, and he would have had an opportunity just to farm up a little bit because his Glacius is pretty crutched right now. I mean, all he has is Striders, and he is basically playing wholeheartedly the ward bitch. So the one thing about Glacius, I absolutely love him. I think he's one of the best hard supports in the game, but no matter what, he is going to be one of the frailest hard supports in the game, and he has zero escape whatsoever. Because the thing is, even if he does Ice Imprison you, and the one thing I don't like about Ice Imprisonment is you can still cast abilities, right? So say, for example, he Ice Imprisons the Engineer. There's no reason that Engineer can't throw out a keg and stun him back. Or Puppet Master. He Ice Imprisons the Puppet Master. There's no reason he can't Puppet Show him or Puppeteers hold him, so that once the Ice Imprisonment wears off, that he basically can just drop everything he wants to on him and kill him really fast. Or the fact that he has basically, I mean, what's he looking at? We got 3 armor, and Pestilence's ulti at this point in the game does -12. So he's sitting at -9 armor. He's going to get 3 auto attack down by pretty much any hero in the game. That's what's going to happen to that hero at this point. So they do have sight of this Gemini. This is going to be big. This is going to be big, especially if he holds him. He holds him here. The Gemini does have DD, so he does have to be careful of that, but he's going to fall. So, the Pestilence with the PK, like I said, that's all that hero needs. He needs a PK and a Shrunken Head, and he is viable to the very end of the game. The Gore procs, the stuns, and the minus armor. Level 16, he is still one of the best jump heroes in the game. Even if he jumps, gets his ulti on one person, stuns one person, and dies, he still did exactly what he was set out to do. The Legion team here, they are going to go for Kongor. The Hellborn side knows that they're doing it. Gemini doesn't have a buyback right now, and I don't know if they're going to even attempt to jump this. I mean, Bubbles could probably shell surf in and steal it, maybe, or attempt to, and then so Glacius lands a pretty good Glacial Downpour. The Puppet Master does fall after he picks up the token, but they do kill Ravenour. The Bubbles is dusted, the Glacius is dusted. They're going to continue to chase. The Glacius does fall. And other than the Master of Arms, which he might... Okay, wow.
Legion wins.
Okay, so that was the end of the game. So, let's wrap this up. It is 25 minutes in. We are looking at a 10,000 experience and gold deficit. They did just kill Kong. I don't know if they should have conceded at that point. The Warbeast was pretty farm, not going to deny that. He was sitting at almost 500 GPM. We did have another hero in Puppet Master that was almost at 500 GPM. Let me pause this because I don't want any of the stats to be elevated. We did have Shrunken Heads on the Warbeast and the Puppet Master. We did finish a Shrunken Head on the Ravenour, which the Ravenour is the equivalent of the Pestilence, but I think the Ravenour still has a little bit more late game potential than the Pestilence in the sense that he has more carry potential. But I don't know if they should have conceded that yet. I think that was a little bit premature, and I hope the next game that we see out of Prey They don't give up so easily. I mean, I understand that this is a scrim and you're trying things and all that wonderful stuff, but the way that they played that, I thought once they closed the gap initially from being down 3,000 gold in experience, that it was their game to lose, and it was sort of one bad team fight after another. You really can't discount the engineer and the tree. It's a really, really good ultimate combination, especially if you can get somebody stuck inside the engineer ulti. But like I said, I think they preemptively conceded that game. I think I would have liked to seen it go maybe another 2 or 3 team fights. Because you have to figure, once Kong's down, right? They lose that team fight, and once Kong's down, you got another 9 minutes or so before Kong's back up. And yeah, I understand the tree is great for locking everybody down, and the Puppet Master is farming really well. Same with the Warbeast, but I still, like I said, I cannot discount that Gemini. I think anytime anybody picks up a Gemini, you deserve to take the game later than you normally would. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in that game. I would have liked to seen it go a little bit further, but it's a scrim, guys, so we'll just have to get on to the next one. This is Nick Saberwolf Perenni with a SaberCast, signing off.